about your case, but we decided just to wait for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So, sorry, my camera's messing up. Anyway, Ms. Sherman, we're just going to talk a little bit. I don't know how much you told, is it Lange?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
About what's going on in your case, but really today is just about figuring out how we can best help Ms. Sherman, right? We have a hearing coming up tomorrow. And like I asked you, Ms. Lange, I don't know how much you know about what's going on, but there is a pending case and we have a hearing tomorrow. And my focus is just to see how we can best help Ms. Sherman, because there are some allegations against Ms. Sherman, but really at this point, their only concern is her mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's why I wanted to talk to you to see if you have any concerns and what I can do to maybe get the court to be aware, and maybe even perhaps if you're amenable to it, Ms. Lange, is having you testify if necessary.
For tomorrow? Testify?
No, not tomorrow.
Oh.
No, not tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, if it was something that I could do to help, for sure. I don't have a problem with doing that. I would like to kind of get an idea of what's going on with the case and what the allegations are, so that
Sure. So, Ms. Sherman, is it okay if I share it with Ms. Lange?
Oh yes, I've told her everything. Just about.
Okay, good. So basically, the way this whole case started, I want to say it was back in, was it June, Ms. Sherman?
May 28th.
May, okay. So they're alleging that Ms. Sherman had some sort of mental episode, and for that reason, Ms. Sherman was placed in the hospital.
Okay.
Okay, and so then her children were placed in CPS care.
Okay.
Okay.
That we have talked about. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Now, since then, the department has been trying to get her to do all these. I mean, I'm sure you've dealt with them before. This is CPS, so they have them do all these different kinds of things, like make sure that they have employment, make sure that they have a stable place to live, and all. So, Ms. Sherman has done everything that they've requested.
Yes.
The only thing, like I said, that they have a concern about, and the caseworker even testified to it last time, was Ms. Sherman's mental health. And they're trying to get a hold of her medical records to see what kind of, because Ms. Sherman is already in therapy. Yeah. Right? She's already in it with you. So they wanted to know exactly what kind of medication she's on, what kind of issues or concerns there are about the children being placed back with Ms. Sherman at this point. So what they're really waiting on, and what I anticipate that they're waiting on, is really just the 6 months to be up. Okay. To show that she's been going to therapy and treatment. Yeah, she's been consistent treatment.
Okay. In terms of like medication and things like that, Ms. Sherman does report that she's taking her medication, that she has a psychiatrist, and she's following up with them regularly. In terms of mental health, there are some things that we need to continue to work on, such as like challenging negative thoughts and, things like that, so that she can, have a happier and healthier life, and, look at life that way. We still need to work on maybe some emotion regulation things, but I mean, in terms of whether or not she should have she should have her children back, it's not necessarily something I can comment on. It's just, I do believe that she needs to, oh, go ahead.
Well, the concern is, okay, so you're aware that she has a psychiatrist, right? Ms. Sherman, how many different mental health people are you seeing? You have your psychiatrist, right?
Yeah, and I'm seeing another therapist, Ebony Butler, and Miss Tyler. But before that, I was working with the Houston Area Women's Center, and I was talking to Katya and a few other people, but their counseling, it was like crisis counseling. Their regular counseling that you set up appointments for, there was too long of a waiting list.
Right. the department's concern is that they just want to see that she's consistent, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I really think that so she's been consistent with you.
Yes.
Okay. So they're going to want to know if you have any concerns about her children being placed with her.
Okay. No, I don't have
that point.
Right. I don't have any concerns about her children being placed with her. I think that they've all gone through a substantial amount of trauma, and they need the support. I don't think that I don't have any concerns.
Okay, good. Now, is there anything that you think that we could use tomorrow? Because really tomorrow it's another status. They're just really going to want to know what's going on and if Ms. Sherman's been consistent. They're also, I believe that you should have received a what is it called? A HIPAA relief? Did they send you one? Did the department send you one? When did you get it?
I can't remember if it was a week, this past week or the week before.
Okay.
But I do remember receiving it.
And has that already been responded to? Has her records already been released to them?
I can double check with the front office to make sure. Usually as soon as I get them, I'm checking all of the records, making sure they're good to go, and then the front office sends them. I know we sent them to CPS, and they were working on sending them to you guys as well. So I can double check with them to make sure that they were sent.
Okay, good. So like I said, I really think that they're really just trying to wait for this 6 months to come up. And the only reason that I wanted to have this meeting with you is because if there is something that's of concern, I wanted to be able to get ahead of it before the next hearing. Not so much the one tomorrow, because like I said, it's more of a status. They're going to want to know that if Ms. Sherman did in fact sign the HIPAA release, and if you all received it, and if the records have been received.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if it does come down to it, we're going to have another, I want to say, status hearing for November and December. And I think that's when the 6 months will be up. May, June, July, August, October, November, December. Yeah, we'll be really close to it. Yeah. So at that time, I would like to be able to call you as a witness to see, because like I said, the only real question that you can answer, which would be the last one, would be if you have any concerns about the children being returned to her.
Okay. And I can just say yes or no.
Right.
Okay.
And do you, as far as, because they're going to ask you this, have you ever dealt with CPS before?
I have minimally with CPS.
Okay, they're probably going to ask you if you are called as a witness. They'll probably ask you if, and you don't have to answer this now, I'm just telling you what they might be asking you. If the patient reports that they're taking their medication as prescribed, is there any way for you to know that? And if you do know, what kind of things would you be reporting?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't really know how to answer that question because I wouldn't know specifically unless I were to comment on her current mental state.
Okay.
What I'm noticing in sessions.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So since you've been seeing Ms. Sherman, you said since July 26th of this year, right?
Yes, of this year.
And then how often do you see her?
Once a week, sometimes if we have to reschedule or something every other week, but majority of the time it's once a week. Okay.
And is Ms. Sherman pretty consistent at being there for those scheduled sessions?
Yes.
And how long are the sessions?
50 minutes.
50 minutes, okay. And what do you all usually talk about?
Processing through her several traumas that she's experienced over her life, over the years, specifically the ones with the CPS case.
Okay. So right now, is that something that's really affecting her in her daily life?
Absolutely.
Okay. The fact that she doesn't have her children with her, right?
The fact that she doesn't have her children.
Okay. And over the course since you started, treatment with Ms. Sherman, has her demeanor or her, I guess the best word would be demeanor, has it changed at all, or has it been pretty much the same?
She seems to be coping better emotionally. When we first started meeting, she was very distraught about, not having her children and different things like that. And she was often very tearful and crying and, just seeming to be emotionally, like she was having a hard time emotionally. But, since she's been on her medication and going through therapy, learning how to regulate her emotions and things like that, she's been able to secure a job. She's been able to, get housing for herself. She's been able to do a lot of things to prepare for her children's return home.
And do you believe that she's doing everything she can so that she can get her children back? Absolutely. And that includes taking care of her mental health?
Absolutely.
Ms. Sherman, do you have any questions? Is there anything that you want to know?
Well, I just wanted to say that the whole mental, like, from the May 28th incident, I was not taken to the hospital because of a mental health reason. I was taken because the police were angry because I kept calling for a protective order. And so they decided, instead of helping me, they knew that I had a mental health history. And so they fabricated a story, said that I was suicidal, and took me to the hospital. Well, the hospital interviewed me, and I told them that I asked for a protection order, and I was brought to the hospital, and the hospital released me. By then, my children were gone already. The hospital stated in the record that, I did not need any emergency care. I did not meet the qualification for involuntary treatment. And so, there is a record of that. That police officer was just retaliating because I wouldn't stop calling. But the sheriff and the constable and the legal advocate all told me to keep calling until I got my protective order. And I didn't get my protective order until June 3rd. So that's 4 days after the police officer took me to the hospital.
Yeah. So, and do you get a copy of these records, Miss Lange? Is it Miss Lange or Dr. Lange?
Miss Lange is fine. I haven't finished my doctorate yet.
Oh, okay. So do you get a copy of those records, or do you just go based on what Miss Sherman reports to you as far as therapy?
Yeah, just what she reports to me. I haven't received any copies of records or anything as of late.
But is it common practice to do something like that, or is it just usually whatever the patient reports?
A lot of times it's just what the patient reports, and if they give us permission to receive the records, then we can request the records. I did request the records from one of the hospitals that she was in inpatient services at. So I just haven't received anything back from them yet.
Okay. No, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, anything else, Ms. Sherman?
No, that's it. I guess, my concern is, CPS is writing the orders and the judge is just signing them. That's how this normally goes, is they write orders and then the judge just signs whichever one she wants.
So the way it works is the court, the CPS has to draft the orders in accordance with what the judge ordered, and then we're supposed to review it, right? Mm-hmm. And so if I don't add my signature on there, that means that we didn't agree with something that was put in there.
Okay.
So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss that later, Ms. Sherman. But Ms. Lange, do you have any questions for either one of us?
No, I want to know, how I can help. If there's anything else I can do to help in the situation. I've never had to testify or anything, so I will say that this is new for me. So
okay,
please let me know what I can do.
Sure. So what I guess in that sense, I can't tell you too much. I just know that we're going to be asking you several different questions, but it's going to be focused on Ms. Sherman and her specifically, like your interactions with her. So what I also wanted to ask you, is there anything that you think that can help Miss Sherman that maybe I could do or I could request from the court?
I think one of the things that Chantel and I have talked about a lot is just wanting to get her children into therapy as well. I think that's the missing piece here. Like, the judge, everyone needs to hear from them, one, and also they need the mental health support.
I completely agree with that. Does your office provide therapy for children as well?
Yep.
You do? Okay. So if that's something that Ms. Sherman would be interested in, it's something that your office could provide?
Absolutely.
And is it trauma therapy?
Yeah, it's various ones. Miss Sherman is part of our VAP Victims Assistance Program and our CVC program. So we do specifically victims assistance, trauma-informed CBT, trauma-informed care for our clients that are specifically in that program. But we also do other forms, play therapy, grief and loss, all different kinds of treatment.
So do you think that they would need treatment for, especially right now what they're experiencing? I mean, I don't think they've ever been away from Ms. Sherman this long.
Yes.
And I'm sure that it's affecting them. I mean, they only see her, for 1 hour, 2 hours a month, right, Ms. Sherman?
Yes, and in August, I don't think I saw them at all. Like, there was one month I didn't get to see them at all. I wasn't given any visits.
So I definitely think you're right on that one. I'll probably be requesting that tomorrow. Is there a cost associated with it?
They could fall under the VAP grant, so they would get 9 free sessions. They may even fall underneath your CVC grant as well, Chantel.
Yeah, that's why I put it in the letter.
Yeah.
For Ivan to be able to see you as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
What did you say it was called? VAP and...
So VAP, the Victim Assistance Program, this is with through Innovative Alternatives.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the Crime Victims Compensation Grant as well, which Ms. Chantel was already approved for. She actually gets 60 free sessions with that one. And her children should fall underneath that as well. But I would have to talk to our victim advocate. Her name is Elizabeth.
Okay.
No,
all right. So if necessary, I know you're really busy, Ms. Lange, but if it's necessary at all, would you be, like, if we called you tomorrow, would you be able to hop on like this?
Possibly. What time?
Well, we start at 9, but we just never know when the court's going to hear our case. We just sit around. Sometimes we get pushed back till 1:30 because there's so many cases that are being heard at the same time.
Oh, I thought tomorrow was a conference. I didn't. It's an actual hearing.
Let me verify. Give me one second.
I think November 16th is the hearing.
You know what? You're right. Tomorrow is a conference. I apologize. I thought it was a court hearing.
Okay, so
it would be the 16th. I'm sorry. Yes.
November 16th. Okay, I can plan. Yeah, I can plan for that on the 16th. And then just see, I'm gonna block myself off in the morning. Or I might have to block myself off for the whole day. Let me talk to my supervisor about it. I'm sure that should be fine, though.
Yeah, just to be on the safe side, if you can do it the whole day, that would be wonderful. Yeah. Just because we don't know when we're going to be called. It's supposed to be at 9, but you just don't know.
Okay.
And if you get released, you get released. You know, what if the judge says, like, no, you don't want to hear from you, and she'll release you.
Okay. All right.
Okay? All right. It was such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. And if you think of anything that can help me or Ms. Sherman, please do not hesitate to reach out, okay?
Will do.
Okay, Ms. Sherman, we'll be talking, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.